안녕하세요 여러분. Hello everyone, it's Joliana Jolly on our new video, K-influencer and on a new mission. Right now I will tell you my own steps for learning Korean language and how it begins. Actually, it began since 2015. It was my first notebook writing at my learning Korean vocabulary. Actually, I began before knowing Korean characters. I was just listening from Korean dramas, any vocabulary, and write it in also English. For example, Jonin. I was listening Jonin, so I will say right. Oh, Jonin meaning I, so J-O-N. I wasn't know then the Korean characters. I was truly a very good job, but actually it helps me a lot. This kind of things, it truly helped me. In fact, it takes for me a long time for learning basic Korean characters because in Korean we sometimes we pronounce some characters from the throat and from our tongue, so it takes me a lot of time to learn this kind of basic Korean characters. But right now I have been a while. Oh my gosh, it took to me 7 years for learning Korean language. I can't imagine that I have taken 7 years for learning Korean language. Not great, but actually I began to learning this Korean language in reality in 2018 as I began to go and learn Korean language on KCC, Korean Culture Center, and I already have finished level 7, and that was my very beautiful day, and that was a great event. By the way, I will tell you my own steps for learning this, so keep watching me. First step you have to know is learning Korean characters. Maybe you have find some difficulties from the beginning, especially in pronunciation, like or yo. It sounds some closest and very close to each other, but it doesn't matter if you couldn't speak it as well and pronounce it as well. You don't have to be a native speaker from your first try. It takes for you maybe a while, but you will learn it as well. So first of all, you have to know to read and write. So how you will read and write? There are two options for learning these Korean characters. The first of all, from YouTube. You could learn it from Korean child songs. It's actually the best for me. I love Korean songs. It will help you a lot. And the first one is from Play Store. There are many of Korean apps helping you for learning Korean characters like Sejong Korean and others. I will post it download on the description so you could update anytime. And also, number 2, you have to learn Korean numbers. Korean numbers like 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 여덟. Yeah. Actually, in Korean numbers, there are two kind of numbers, Sino and Hangul. You can learn both of them. You have to learn both of them actually. And don't worry about it because I will mention the apps below the video so you could open it anytime you want. After learning Korean characters and learning Korean numbers, the third step, you could listen to some Korean children songs like 세 마리가 한 집에 있어. And also, besides this, or in addition to this, you could watching some Korean dramas and try to repeat after them, like 오빠, 오빠. Sure, all of you know what's mean by 오빠, and 오빠 왔다. 아니면 죄송합니다. 사랑해. 너를 진짜 사랑해. This kind of things, when you listen to Korean dramas and repeat after them, it makes you learning fast and like a native speaker. So the first step is talk to me in Korean for sure. This app or this site is the best for me. I was learning from Talk to Me in Korean before joining KCC, Korean Culture Center, and they helped me a lot to join level 2 in Korean Culture Center. And don't forget the apps that I put below the videos because it will help you doing two things. First of all, it will help you knowing more than one gap in the day, and second all, it will help you to set up your plans and study while studying Korean while you're studying in the college or school. As I was learning Korean language when I was in first and second and third secondary school, it wasn't tiring because I was able to plan and study at the same time. Thank you for today. Wish you good luck and